Hello, beautiful souls. I am so excited that you are here. We are here for the Put Down the Pressure, Play with Potential Masterclass and meditation. This is going to be so much magic inside this free masterclass with you. I'm so excited to dive into all the things. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Rachel White. I'm a coach for the ambitious woman who desires to bring her creative ideas to life while heightening her intuitive abilities and enhancing her leadership. Inside this masterclass, we are going to dive into putting down the pressure. We're going to talk about the incredible potential that exists within you. And oh my gosh, hello, Lara. Let me just change. Oh my gosh, I don't know what's happening. Okay. Hello. Okay, so yes, we're going to dive into putting down the pressure, which, oh my God, I have so much to share in this space. So we're going to talk about playing with your beautiful potential. We're going to do a really soulful guided meditation to introduce you with your spirit team. And I'm going to, at the end, talk just a little bit about my upcoming program, Spirited, that starts on the 11th of Jan. And if you have any questions while we're going, whether you're here or you're watching the replay, please feel free to ask those questions. And I feel that whenever you ask questions, you open little windows for inviting me to share more, which is really exciting. So let's get started. Let's get started with pressure. And I feel like I don't even need to explain what pressure is. I feel like if you're here, you know what it feels like to feel like there's pressure for you to succeed, pressure for you to be perfect, pressure for you to do something or to appear in a certain way. And it's this pressure that ultimately just feels heavy. It's like this heaviness that in some way stops us from moving forward or stops us from feeling deserving that we can move forward. And yes, heavy and rigid, exactly. And if you are here, I know that you already feel some connection or a lot of a connection to your ambition, to your ambitious energy, to your creative energy, and you see and feel potential. Like I know that exists for you if you're here. And I also know that when there is also pressure on top of or underneath or all around of all of that ambition, creativity, and potential, sometimes it can make us feel almost paralyzed or like we can't move forward or that we're missing something or that we just need this one thing that we're missing and then everything will be perfect. So I want to really talk about alchemizing the feeling in our body and removing those stories that are telling us that we can't move forward or we can't create something or we can't be something, because it's all ultimately not true. And I'm going to go a bit deeper into that. So I want you just to visualize something for a moment with me. I want you to imagine yourself in like the ethereal, energetic realm. And in this ethereal world, you see potential all around you. Like you see in energy all possibilities, all potential, all things that you could ever play with in life. Like you see it all around you in this ethereal world inside your imagination. And then you look down and you see that on your ankles there are these shackles, and these shackles have like heavy weights attached to them, and there is a weight for every story you've been telling yourself around why this pressure exists. For every bit of pressure, for everything, for every story that's creating pressure in your life, there's a shackle, a chain, and a weight attached to you. And if you can just imagine yourself like you're this like ethereal, spirited person, being, energy in this realm of energy, and it's like you want to fly and play with all this potential that you can clearly see and feel around you, but it's like every time you go to fly you feel yourself being pulled down by this heaviness created by those weights of pressure. And like, how frustrating does that feel to see so clearly the potential that you have, and to see so clearly the possibilities that you could be experiencing, but for some reason there's these freaking annoying weights on you, and for whatever reason they're just weighing you down so much and creating so much pressure and exhaustion from wondering why they're even there and for them even being there, that it stops us moving forward. And we can have so much like enthusiasm and energy that even with the weights there, we move ourselves forward anyway, but it feels hard. Like, it feels so hard. And there is only so long we can go through life with things feeling that hard, like moving through with weights attached to our ankles. We can do it, but do we want to do it? Probably not. And we can't do it forever. It will get too much at some point. So all of the stories that have created this weight that's attached to us, there's multiple ways that these stories and this weight could have been formed. These stories could have been formed from our childhood conditioning. We could have formed stories like, I won't be loved if I don't achieve, or I need to be the provider for everyone around me. Both of those could create so much pressure. And there are so many other stories we can form in childhood. These stories can come from our shadow self. Our shadow has a fear of death, and it tells the story that we're running out of time. And that is a pressure I have felt so much in my life previously, and there's definitely still elements that come up now, that like the pressure from the story of I'm running out of time, or the shadow's fear of inadequacy, telling the story that we need to strive and strive to prove ourselves, and that creates heaviness and that creates a weight. And then there's stories that come from our core human fears, and this is likely something that we have had pressure around. It's the core human fears of rejection, abandonment, and shame. And even if we have done work around these things, we are human, so we will always have some level of fear. And if we allow those fears to create stories, they can become really heavy, in the form of pressure. Laura says, yes, time is a big one for me. I've been working with, yes, I completely resonate with that. So there are many ways that the stories that create pressure and create weighted heaviness in our life can originate. And what all of these stories have in common is that they're a load of bullshit. They're fake, they're illusions, they're not true. They're not true at all. They're just stories that our mind made up at some point in order to protect us from something at some point. But just because we needed protection from something at some point doesn't mean that it's a story we need to attach to and to continue carting around the weight of it with us for the rest of our life. And even though the stories are fake and a load of BS, what is real though is how your body feels. What is real is the heaviness in your body. What is real is how your body feels because you've internalized these stories and made them mean something about who you are, made them mean something about your identity and what you're capable of and what you're deserving of. And the feeling in our body when we internalize stories like that is so real. It's a frequency of energy moving through our body, and we can't deny ourselves from feeling that. We can't tell ourselves that it's all in our head and it's not real when we have actual feelings in our body that is creating pressure in our body. For me, when I grew up, really grew up with the identity of like the young overachiever. And I attached that to my identity. If I got low grades, which it was a rare occurrence because of how much pressure and effort I put in, but on the very rare occurrence that I got a lower grade, and for me, like a lower grade is below 80%, I would feel deep shame around that. Like, I would feel worthless in the moment and just so ashamed. And like, I would just want to keep it a secret and I wouldn't want anyone to know. Like, it was just so shameful. And I look back now and I I feel for like my younger and teenage self so much of how much pressure there was to get good grades and to be seen as like intelligent in every single thing I did. I put that pressure on myself. Growing up, I thought that the source of my pressure was coming from my dad. And like a little story I have to kind of highlight my dad's I guess viewpoint on the grades I was getting is in my final year of university, I was studying full time, already working full time as an accountant. I was volunteering. I was like the president of a community outreach group across like all our university campuses. So I like did heaps of volunteer work, and um I did all of that. And my final semester in university, I got 3 A's, like 3 top of my class. But in one of my subjects, I got a C, which was like just below 70%. And when I told my dad, like these were my final grades, and I was actually pretty proud of myself at the time to have taken on that workload and to have come out with those grades. And the only thing he said to me was, "How could you get a C?" And I was like, gutted, like heartbroken. I was like, what the hell? And so that kind of just like highlights what I grew up with around the response I would get to grades I would get in school. So I thought that was the source of my pressure. But since I have really taken responsibility for the pressure that I felt in my life and recognized that it was coming from me wanting approval. No one can force pressure onto us. No one can, even if it seems like pressure is coming from someone else, we are ultimately the one putting pressure on ourselves because of something that we deeply want, that we fear we're not worthy of. I wanted approval from my dad. And I had a deep seated fear that if I didn't get good grades, I wouldn't be worthy of that approval. So I invite you to take some radical honesty and just look at how you've been thinking about the pressure in your life. Do you think it's coming from somewhere else, or can you really be honest and recognize how the pressure is coming from yourself? And in me like wanting approval, like at very early on in life as a child, I learned how to get it. I learned that getting good grades got me moments of approval. So that's what I strive to continue to get. And then after that story actually of like telling my dad my final semester of university results, I kind of made a decision that it's like, okay, like I'm not going to get approval from him anymore. Like I don't need it. Like my grades were awesome. I'm awesome, whatever. But then what I found was I kind of transferred that need of approval into my professional career. And I really wanted the approval from the people I looked up to that I was working with. I wanted to be seen. I wanted to be recognized. So I figured out new ways to do that. And this pressure weighed me down so much that I reached a state of burnout. It was a very slow dimming of my life force. I worked as an accountant professionally for 8 years. And in the first couple of years, it was only part-time while I was studying, and I really enjoyed that. But the moment I started working full-time and was in such like a confined environment for so much of my life, it it was such like this slow dimming that I didn't really recognize what was happening internally initially. But it was like I had these weights around my ankles that just kept creating more and more heaviness, but I was trying to run so fast with them on. I was trying to still be the achiever. I was trying to do all the things, impress all the people. And just imagine like running a marathon with such heavy weights tied around your ankles. Like it exhausted me, it drained me, and I reached like an extreme state of burnout. And this was only a couple of years ago now. The turning point for me when I really started, when I really decided to let go of a need for external validation, and there is definitely still remnants of this, but I let it go for the most part when I decided that I have nothing to prove. I have nothing to prove. And I began to validate myself in that moment. And I began to validate myself in a new and elevated way. And I also want to point out kind of like a bit of a paradox in that was happening within the time frame that I was seeking so much external validation and external approval, is that like I always believed and had confidence in my intelligence. Like when I look back in like throughout high school and university, like I always believed I was very intelligent, and that was my reality because I just believed that so deeply. But when I look back, what I realized is that what was giving me the validation to believe I was intelligent was my grades. Because every time I got a grade less than 80%, I had this view that like I'm in the top 20%. Like that was what I aspired to be. And every time I got below 80%, I would question my intelligence. I would be like, oh, like maybe I'm not as smart as I think I am. And this is where we really need to look for the little sneaky ways that our shadow and our insecurities are expressed, because we can feel like we have so much confidence in a certain area, but if one little thing triggers us to feel deep insecurity and shame around something, then we're probably seeking external validation in some way. And wanting external validation is not inherently a bad thing. It's just about deciding how we want to live our life. Like, do we want to live our life always seeking for people to approve of us and doing things that we don't necessarily want to do because we want someone's approval? Or do we want to live a life where we feel really whole and complete and amazing within ourselves? And if we do, we really need to be honest with ourselves in the ways that we're using external things to validate how we want to feel about ourselves. Lara says, yes, so powerful. I feel like this with people pleasing and the shoulds. Yes. Oh my God. Yes. Yes. People pleasing. Oh my God. If you resonate with being a people pleaser, then I would say that there are definitely ways you're seeking external validation, and just start to be curious. What is it that you want validation of within yourself? That you're a good person, that you're capable, that you're intelligent, that you can do stuff. Like, what is it you want validation of? And can you give yourself that validation? And can you really embody the truth that you have nothing to prove to anyone, and people will love you and accept you even if you don't prove yourself to them? And if they don't, that's their problem, not yours. Okay, so when I decided that I had nothing to prove, this is also when my intuition started speaking to me at such a higher level. And the thing is that our intuition is mostly filtered through our body. Like for our intuition to speak to us, like our intuitive messages always land in our body before they land into our mental awareness. And that means that intuitive messages are always filtered through like whatever we have going on physically and mentally at any given time. And imagine that you're in the state of trying to run, trying to prove yourself, trying to do all these things, seeing all these external things that you want, while you have weights around your ankles, and you're trying to run and you're trying to question like, why are these fucking things so heavy on my legs for, but I just got to keep going. Like, if you're in that state of being, how aware are you going to be of the subtle little messages that your body are trying to give you? Like, how aware, and what is your intuitive messages being filtered through? They're being filtered through the thoughts of, I got to prove myself, I can't do that because I might be rejected for something like that. So when I really let go of the thought that I had to prove something, and I really embraced that I have nothing to prove, my intuition spoke to me in such a louder way. But it actually wasn't a louder way. I was just listening so much more actively, and I was so, my ability to be in tune with my intuitive messages was heightened so much. I could hear my intuitive voice so much clearer. And the thing is that like your intuition is mostly subtle messages within your body. But if you don't listen to those subtle messages, you probably most likely will get to a point where your body starts screaming at you and will be like, why the fuck haven't you been listening to me? Don't you know I'm only trying to fucking help you? Here's something, I'm going to make it so obvious that you cannot ignore me. Bang. And it will be something you can't ignore, and it will ultimately be the hard way. You'll always get to where you need to be. I honestly believe that you'll always get to where you need to be. But do you want that journey to be hard and full of pressure, or do you want it to feel easy? Do you want to embrace ease and pleasure and joy along that journey? And if you do, then listening to your intuition is such an important element. But your intuition will start screaming at you if you're not really ready to embrace the more subtle, more gentle messages. And what I want for you is to hear, honor, and trust the subtle messages that are guiding you towards ease, pleasure, joy, and amplified impact, and also amplified experiences, like the things you want to experience in life. Your intuition is trying to guide you towards those things. And if you're ignoring your intuition, then you're just expanding the time to when you will get to what you want and making it harder, keeping the weights on for the journey. And just imagine how much easier it would be to travel through life if you just took the weights off. Okay, so now what I want to talk about is some action points, like what to actually do. It's time for you to alchemize the feelings that are in your body that have arrived through the pressure you've put on yourself, and to also dismantle the stories that have been perpetuating the heaviness. So there's 3 action steps. Number 1 is to alchemize the feeling. And this is about recognizing the emotional energy in your body, feeling the feels in your body, but not indulging in the feeling, not making the feeling mean that your story is true, not making the feeling mean anything, not attaching any meaning to the feeling, just simply feeling what is in your body. Because if it's already in your body, it's already there to be felt, and you can feel it while acknowledging that you are alchemizing it into fuel towards the actual way you want to live your life. And you don't need to hold on and indulge in that feeling as a way to justify how long you've held on to the story or justify the story in and of itself. So alchemize the feeling by allowing yourself to be present with the feeling and trusting that you are so powerful that whatever the heavy feeling is, it could never swallow you whole. It could never take you down a path that you can't come back from. It will never like send you into the depths of your despair with no way out. Like, you are too powerful for that to happen, and you are powerful enough to feel your feelings and be present with them, even if they're heavy, even if they're a little uncomfortable, without making it mean anything about the original story, about yourself, about your identity or anything. So alchemize by feeling. Second thing is to dismantle the actual story that is playing out within your subconscious mind. And this begins with awareness. Like, what is the story? What's the story you've been telling yourself? And then to really look at the story as an observer and invalidate it. Like, why is this story actually true? No, it's bullshit. Why? It's not true because blah, blah, blah. And then this next step, which is like a sub step to the second step of dismantling the story, is after you've invalidated it, like, laugh at it, like, find some humor in it. Like, and this can take some time, especially if it's like a little raw and we're just first, like at the first look at this story we've been playing in our mind. Like, this may take some space and time to laugh at it and really acknowledge that, like, I can't believe I believed that for so long. Like, I can't believe I thought the only way my dad would love me if I got good grades. Like, how silly is that when I say it out loud like that? I can't believe that I thought my only good quality as a human being was to get good grades. Like, it's funny and I can laugh at it now. If you told me that when I was in the storm and in the middle of that and like refused to let go of the weight of it, then I would have been like, fuck off. Like, it's not funny. It's hard. But when you've let it go a little, when you've started that process, you can laugh at it and find some humor in it and just make it an experience that you've benefited from ultimately. And the third thing is to visualize the weights coming off and dissolving. See those weights and what those weights represented in your visualization. See yourself taking them off. See that you are powerful enough to take the weight of these stories off of you, to take the pressure of these stories off of you. And they dissolve into dust when you no longer give them power, because you are more powerful than those stories. So the 3 action steps: alchemize, dismantle, and visualize. The truth is, you have nothing to prove and you have nothing to defend. Another truth is that time is an illusion and you have all the time that you need. And this concept of time being an illusion is something I could talk about for another hour. So I'm going to leave it at that. But I want you to trust me that you have all the time you need. Like, there is no reason to fear running out of time. You have all the time you need. And the third truth is that you have more than you need right in this moment. There is so much abundance in front of you right now. And that means that you don't have to keep striving in every single moment of your existence. You have abundance in front of you right now, and you can honor and acknowledge that right now. So what I want you to do is to take in a deep breath, inhale through the nose and invite life into your body. And as you exhale, anchor into your body, ground into your body, connect back in with your body. Take a few more deep breaths. Every time that you feel the weights are pulling you down, and you feel that your potential is kind of out of reach, and you look down and notice there are weights and new stories attaching to you, I want you to take a deep breath, exhale, anchor into your body, and remind yourself of these truths: that you have nothing to prove, nothing to defend, that time is an illusion and you have all the time you need, and that you have more than you need right now. Abundance is all around you. Every single time you feel the pressure coming, take a deep breath, ground into your body, and remind yourself of what you decide your truth is. And this will alchemize that pressure in the moment, before it takes hold of your ankle, before it shackles to you. And this will take practice, especially if we've lived our entire life, like decades of our life, with this feeling of pressure around us. Like, it will feel like a liberation. It will feel like we've suddenly got so much more energy. Like, imagine if you've only ever walked or run with ankles around your waist and then you suddenly take them off. Like, how amazing. And your body might want to go back to having that heaviness because maybe it liked it for some reason, and that's okay and that's normal. But when you feel it, you can make the choice to alchemize it in the moment. And even if there is a moment where it does attach to you, you can come back to all the practices we've already been through to let it go again. And you can come back about and back and back again and again and again and again, because we're human beings, and our mind will make up stories, and we can shift those stories whenever we choose to bring awareness to them. So I want to talk about one more common thing that can create a lot of pressure. And this is something that is very relevant to me. And I feel it's relevant to a lot of ambitious women who know what they want. And this is around that I have to do it all on my own, or there is no one to help me, or if I want it done right, I got to do it myself. If you've ever heard yourself say any of those 3 things or anything along those lines, then like there's a story here around that you're alone, essentially, that you don't have the support that you need. I'm so glad you're touching on this. Yes, I feel like it's such an important thing. And so if you have this story that you're alone, essentially, that you don't have the support that you need or that you want, and that you just have to do it yourself to do it right or perfect or how you want it, like, again, this is a story. It's not true. But I want you to ask yourself, like, is this what you want to be your truth? Is this what you want to be your truth? And be really honest with yourself here, because sometimes holding on to this story that I have to do it all on my own is actually giving us a feeling that we're superior to others. And our ego needs that feeling because of whatever reason, whatever story we're fueling it with. Or when we do it all on our own, that makes us feel strong, or it makes us feel like it justifies how much we complain about the other people in our life. If we're holding on to the story of, I've got to do it all on my own, like, there's a reason that we attached firmly to that story. And to begin to alchemize this one, we really need to be honest in, like, why it's there. And if it's there to justify us feeling superior to others, like, we can be really honest with ourselves about that, and show a lot of compassion with ourselves. If it's the only way we feel strong and worthy and capable when we do something on our own, again, we can have compassion for that. Like, radical honesty is what I invite for you to explore. And I want to ask you again, like, is this the story that you want to be your truth? Is this the story that you want to continue with? And I feel that it takes so much more strength to welcome in support than it does to be on your own or to do things on your own. Being with yourself can often feel safer. And it feels safer than letting people in. And this goes back to our core human needs, our core human fears of rejection and abandonment. If we don't let them in fully, then they will never have the opportunity to abandon us, and they won't have the opportunity to reject us because we're not letting them in enough to actually know us well enough to reject the real us. And we can also show a lot of compassion around where we've adopted these protection mechanisms around wanting to avoid the feeling of abandonment and rejection by, like, putting these stories in place that make us feel and think like we've got to do everything on our own. And this can feel heavy. Like, this definitely felt heavy for me when I started to be really honest around it. So to begin alchemizing these type of stories, we begin with the same process as we did with the other stories. Feel the feelings in your body. Always honor your human self. Honor the feelings that are present within you. Again, without indulging, without making it mean anything about the story or ourselves. Dismantle the BS stories. What are the stories we've been telling ourselves? Can I begin to look at them, prove them wrong, laugh at them, dismantle them? And then there's two more steps. One, acknowledge the support that you already do have available, because you already have so much support available. And this can be physical support or support from spirit. Like, you definitely have support from spirit. You have support from your intuition. But have you been taking advantage of that support? That's another question. Something that I hear all the time, and this, like, I say this with absolutely no judgment, but something I hear very often from mothers, and I'm not a mother, so I know I can't fully be in your shoes, and I say this with no judgment, is that they don't have time to, or they don't have anyone to watch their kids, to focus on their business, or to do something that's going to get them in touch with their body, or, like, to do things that are desires. But then in those exact same people, when they need to go do grocery shopping, or go to a doctor's appointment, or, like, do something that they classify as a need, suddenly there is someone available to look after the kids. And I see this so often, and I completely recognize that not everyone, like, has, like, family or babysitters and things like that. Like, this isn't directed at any particular person. But when you decide that you need something, you will find the support to make it happen, whether that is someone to look after your kids, someone to drive you somewhere if you can't drive yourself for whatever reason. Like, there is always support available. And when it's a need, like, we will make it happen, and we will find that support and we will make it happen because it's available to us. When it comes to our desires and things that we want that are just for us, or that we can kind of label as being like more selfish, like it's not a need, I could go without this, but like I really desire it, then it's so much easier to think like, oh, I don't want to burden that person. I want to prove that I can look after my kids. I want to prove that I can get to where I need to go by myself. I want to prove that I can do it by myself. And, you know, we can create all these stories again as to why we can't ask for the support that is actually available to us. So I want you to be really clear on acknowledging the support that is available to you. Lara says, yes, I'm not a mother either, but I'd always put myself so low on the need and priority list for things like that. Yes, absolutely. It's so common when we have this story of needing and wanting to do things all on our own. So it's so important to acknowledge the support that you actually do have. And this can look like so many different things. So and this kind of ties into the third thing, which I'll talk about now, is to decide the support that you want. This could look like you would love to have, and right at this stage of deciding the support you want, I want you to let go of any limitation you've told yourself. So you could decide that you want to hire someone to come in and clean your house once a week, or you want someone to watch the kids for half a day twice a week while you work on your business, or you want the support of a high level coach, or you want the support of a virtual assistant or a graphic designer or a bookkeeper or any other kind of business support. Like, decide the support that you want in your business, in your home. You might want to have someone style your hair once a week. Like, just decide the support that you want to have in your life and be really clear on, like, this is the support I want. This is how it's going to benefit me. I'm so excited for this to become my reality. And some of it you may be able to implement and put in place straight away and really get that physical support. Other things may take some space and time to actually come into your reality to be fully like possible for you. And everything is possible. And just because something might take some space and time, like, doesn't mean it's not possible, and doesn't mean you need to let go of that desire and that clarity on the support that you want. You can't get the support until you're clear on the support that you want. And if you know that you want to coach, but you just keep telling yourself, I can't afford that, I don't have enough money for that, or I'm scared for someone to see me at that level, or like whatever reason you've been telling yourself, like, yes, the reality might be in your bank account right now, you might not have enough, the amount of money that they charge for their program, for their one-on-one, for whatever it is, in whatever way you want to work with them. Like, that might be the reality. But if you just keep telling yourself the story of, I can't afford them, whatever, and you don't actually give yourself the opportunity to really like sit with it and examine your situation, that it's like, okay, if I really wanted this, I could make it work by, like, how could I make this work? I could get a loan, I could do this or this or this or this. Like, there's countless possibilities that you could make it work. And you can also like start putting things aside and arranging your resources to make it work now. But the point is that whatever support you want, whether it's to hire a gardener, a cleaner, a hairstylist, a babysitter, a coach, a VA, whatever it is, you have to decide that you want that support in your life and that you're willing to invite that support into your life before the resources will be made clear to you in how you can get that support. And if it's something like, for example, if it's something like working with a coach and you don't have the money in your bank account right at this second, like, there are other options. Like, you can do their free offers, for example, get in their energy. They may have like lower cost investment masterclasses or short programs, or like whatever it is they offer for you to like start to build towards their highest level offer. If you want a personal assistant and ideally you want them to work 20 hours a week for you, start hiring an assistant to do 1 hour a week for you. Like, there are ways for you to invite more and more and more support into your life. If you want someone to clean your house, but you feel that you don't have the resources to pay a cleaner, like, there might be a family member that would be willing to clean your house, and you do something that you love doing for them, like a service exchange kind of thing. So there are ways that you can begin to invite support, but again, going back to the first step is you need to get clear on what is the support that you want, and be willing to let go of the stories that are telling you that it's not safe for you to have the support that you really desire to have in your life, because you are not on your own. You don't have to do it on your own. It's not all on you. And you always have the support from spirit that is here to guide you if you're willing to invite that guidance into your life and be present for it. And in the meditation, we're going to do a little bit of we're going to tap into that, inviting your guides to guide you. So that's going to be really beautiful. But I want to say a little thing before we go into the meditation. And this is around playing with potential. So now that you have taken the shackles off, you can play in your imagination in any way you want. Like, there's no heaviness keeping you in one spot anymore, and you can go and explore and play in whatever way you want. And the more you connect with your intuition, the more you will be directed in where to play, because sometimes it can seem so overwhelming. Like, if we've felt stuck in one spot for so long and then suddenly we can go literally anywhere imaginable, like, that can feel a little overwhelming. And this is where, when the more we connect with our intuition, it's like it's our compass to guide us on where to go play, where to go explore. And the more we connect with the support that we desire to have, the more space we will open to play in our life and in our imagination. And the more we connect with our creative potential, the more you will channel and then express, and you will transform your thoughts into form. And this is one of my favorite things, like channeling ideas, mixing it up with your creative potential, and then expressing in a way that is so impactful, and then leading it with your presence. That is, I love that process so much. And you got to invite in your intuition and support for your creative potential to be at its full capacity. And after you've played within your imagination, you can bring back that feeling into your body, and you can make these stories mean something to you. That if you can imagine it, you can experience it. That if you can imagine it, it's only a matter of time before you experience it in the 3D world. Can you take off the pressure that you're running out of time to get there? Can you take off the pressure that it's all on you to make it happen? Can you take off the pressure that you have to do it to prove yourself? And can you lean into the playfulness of, this is a potential thing for me to experience. I desire to experience this. And so it is. And so I get to. And it will inevitably happen. And if I stay connected to this feeling, then I can experience it. And you can call on all the support you need within this journey to, again, keep taking pressure off. It's not all on you, but you do have responsibility and you do have a role to play, but it's not weighted pressure. It's exciting playfulness that you get to go and explore life. Okay, so we're going to go into our meditation. So I think seated with a straight spine is the best way to do this meditation. But if you want to lay down, you're welcome to. Make yourself comfortable. So just take a little moment, like if you have anything on your lap or around you, you might like to move it slightly out of the way. And just get in a really comfortable position and shut down your eyes. And take in a deep breath in through the nose. Gentle, soft, slow exhale out through the nose. And I want you to set the intention right now that the experience you're about to have is of the highest good and highest service for you in this moment. Now bring your awareness and bring your energy into your imagination. And as you bring your awareness into your imagination, in through your third eye, you see yourself in this realm of possibility, this realm of potential where you get to play. And as you enter this realm of potential, you may see the shackles, the weights around your ankle. And I want you to visualize yourself unshackling them right now. I want you to see how powerful you are to take these weights off of your body. And if you need a moment to do this, take as long as you need. Unshackle yourself, remove the weight, and feel how much lighter and free and liberated you feel. And you're about to travel to meet your spirit guides. And for you to meet your guides, you need to rise to their level, to their frequency of consciousness. Your guides will not indulge in your stories. The weights need to be removed first. And as you've fully taken these weights off of your body, you begin to float around and play in this field of potential for a moment. And then your energy begins to rise up. But really, in this realm, there is no up. You're just entering a new field of energy, a different frequency where your guides are waiting to meet you. And you land in a new realm. And this may appear in many different ways to you. I want you to see and feel what's around you and validate it as the place you're meant to be. It may just be lights of energy, or you may arrive in a familiar place, maybe somewhere in nature. Wherever you are right now, allow yourself to be there. Take a deep breath. And when you're ready, your guides will appear to you. Your guides may appear one at a time, maybe all together. And know that these higher frequency beings may appear to you in familiar ways, as characters you know, as people you know, as animals or objects. They'll appear in whatever way is going to resonate for you. But know that if it is someone that is familiar, it is not them. They just appear this way to make you feel comfortable in this moment. If you can't see your guides yet, that is okay. Know that you are attuning to their energy in every moment you spend in this realm. If your guides are with you, I want you to begin a dialogue with them. What do they have to say to you? What questions do you have to ask them? And just begin communicating here. And trust that if something doesn't make sense right now, it's a seed being planted to flourish later on. Trust that whatever you're receiving is what is meant for you in this moment. And feel the support, the acceptance, the love that you're receiving from spirit right now. Acknowledge the support that your guides have to offer you. And trust that you're receiving the support you need in this moment and that you can always return to this place. When you're ready, you're going to come back to the initial field of energy that you entered. Say any final words you need to your guides. And then your consciousness, your energy travels back to the field of potential. And you can take a little moment to play here. Did you receive any support or guidance in where you want to play? What energy you want to bring back with you into your body? Choose a little bit of potential you want to bring back with you. And when you're ready, bring your awareness back into your physical body. Take 3 more deep belly breaths. And when you're ready, really gently open your eyes. And take a moment to welcome yourself back. And I encourage you to have a little journaling session on that experience. If there's anything you noticed, anything you want to write down, any support or guidance you were given, write it down and come back to it at a later time, especially if things didn't make sense. They may make more sense after they've had an opportunity to percolate in your awareness a little. And if you want to connect more deeply with your spirit guides, this is something we're going to dive into in a lot more depth within the Spirited program. So I want to spend just a couple of minutes talking about Spirited. Spirited is a 7-week program for the ambitious woman to tap deeply into her intuition and to infuse spirit in her leadership. It's a 7-week program and it begins in 4 days on the 11th of Jan, the 11/11/1. And inside this program, you will connect so much more deeply with your spirit team and you will connect so intimately with your body to hear your intuitive voice and to heighten your intuitive abilities. And this heightened intuitive abilities, your heightened capacity to tap in will really activate such a higher capacity for you to channel. And channeling is like downloading directly from spirit. And when you channel, you invite the light codes that only you have access to into your body to then be expressed on earth. And that is the most amazing thing. And more of your creative potential will be awakened in this process, and you will be in such a powerful place to so incredibly creatively express. And this can look like channeling your first masterclass. This entire masterclass was channeled by me. You could channel your first program from the entire structure, the name, the tagline, the graphics, like every single thing about it. You can channel your first published book, like I did as well. You can channel your podcast, your business, any offering that you want to create. And there's so many different things you can channel that are going to make such an impact in the world. And this can, what having this high access to your intuition, channeling abilities, and creative potential also looks like is such elevated trust and confidence in the decisions that you make in your life and the presence of your leadership and the meaning, the real meaning behind the impact that you're here to make and lead. This program is really for you if you're ready to be the leader that has a meaningful impact in relationship with spirit. I can't even emphasize enough how amazing this 7-week container is going to be and how activating and potent it is going to be. There is so much that can happen within 7 weeks, and my energy really amplifies the creativity in other people and really calls you to rise and to really step into your presence as a leader to be the ambitious woman that you are and make the impact that you're here for. If you're interested in Spirited to join this really sacred and amazing container, all you have to do is send me a message and I will send you a link to the webpage. And the webpage has all the details on it, from what all the modules are, all the investment options, everything about the program. You can feel into that and then decide if it is right for you. And I will leave it with you to get back to me if you want to join before the 11th of Jan. So send me a message if you want access to the webpage, to the sales page for Spirited. So I just want to take this last little moment to thank you so much for being here, and just I hope you got so much value out of this masterclass. The purpose of this masterclass, first and foremost, was to activate you, to guide you into alchemizing that heaviness and that pressure, to create gold with it, and to come into a lighter energy where you can really embrace the leader that you are and embrace the impact that you're here to make without the pressure of needing to do it in any way, or needing to, or doing it in an energy that isn't really allowing you to live your life. Laura says, thank you so much for your time. I'm excited to watch the replay again already. Love you. I love you too, Lara. Thank you so much for being here live with me, and you will get the replay very shortly. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Lara, for being here live. Thank you, everyone, so much that is watching the replay. I'm so excited. If you have any feedback, if you have any further questions, if you have anything you'd like to say to me at all, if you want to share your meditation experience with me, I would absolutely love to hear about that. So you can message me or reach out to me in any way after you've watched the replay, if there's anything you'd like to say at all. So thank you so much. And if you want to join Spirited, please reach out to me. I would love to share more details with you and talk to you more about your ambition, your leadership, your creativity, intuition, impact, all the amazing things. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Sending you so much love and support. And I love you all so much. I can't wait to speak to you more.